Spencer, thank you very much indeed. Simon, while you were out talking to whoever you could find to listen to you, Spencer very kindly brought me in a tea, milk and 2 sugars, beautifully prepared, just as you did this morning at breakfast in the flat that we now share. Spencer, it's out there, and I'm telling the nation, we live together. Why not? It's happened.
Absolutely, Jim. Listen, I had a meeting with, the head honchos here at talkSPORT, and I asked them for a bigger position, and that's the position they've given me.
T-Boy
for Jim White.
And I will see you back at our flat tonight, Spencer, as we'll carry on.
In a virgin mug.
On the lovely relationship on which we have embarked. Spencer, thank you very much
Very
indeed.
good.
Spencer Oliver is with us. That long, laborious introduction, but I'm glad I did it. Spencer, thank you so much. Spence, we're going to kick off with Joshua Ngannou, because that is next for everybody in the world of boxing. And you have news for us, because we understand there's a presser in the next few days regarding it.
Yeah, we've got a press conference on Monday at Tottenham Court Road, I believe. That is to announce Anthony Joshua versus Francis Ngannou and the rest of the undercard. So looking forward to that.
And when is this event going to take place?
So the event,
do we know?
Yep, the event is going to take place Saudi Arabia, March the 8th, which is a Friday night, which is unusual. I think that's to do with Ramadan falling on the 10th or so they pulled it a day forward. And looking forward to it. Listen, it's a big night, potential banana skin for Anthony Joshua. He may get criticism for this fight, and you look at it and you go, come on, let's hold up a minute here. We know what was going to happen with him and Filip Hrgović. They were going to fight for the vacant IBF title on this date, but because of the undisputed and what's going on with Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk fighting on February the 17th, we don't know if that title is going to become vacant by March the 8th. So, in steps Francis Ngannou. Now, people will criticise this fight. I won't criticise this fight, because you look at Ngannou's performance against Tyson Fury. Forget the way that Tyson Fury performed, because he way underperformed. I don't think he showed Ngannou the respect he deserved. But what we do know about Ngannou is he can fight, he can punch. And I think it's an interesting fight. Why are you laughing?
Well, I laugh, right, because you say because Tyson Fury didn't give him the respect he deserved. But unilaterally, everybody, all of us, including in this studio, and everybody suggested that this was a walkover for Tyson Fury.
Yeah,
everybody.
Yeah. But what did we find out after the event? That actually Ngannou can fight.
We found out that Tyson Fury didn't do his job.
Yeah, no, but you can't take away from Ngannou's performance. Well, I mean, that was a good performance, Simon. He had a game plan, and I think technically he was great.
Fine.
And he put the WBC heavyweight champion on the seat of his pants.
And that's fine.
You've got to respect that.
And you do indeed, but you also have to look at it, and because we've had this discussion the other day, it's an interesting one, because if these boxers are as good as they say they are, and they're the top of the pile and the cream of the crop, if you put a boxer into an octagon, you know that Francis Ngannou would disable them relatively quickly.
Absolutely.
Right? And so I'm not entirely sure why it doesn't work on the opposite. I would imagine that Tyson Fury not doing his job properly was the main reason.
You're talking about training.
Whatever it was, not having the prerequisite amount of focus, not having the prerequisite amount of menace, not being focused on the objectivity, being told that he's wonderful and that he doesn't have to pay for taxes in this country and needs not to queue at airports, all this sort of rubbish that we've had to listen to about how important he is, maybe distracted him from the task in hand. I suspect that we will see a leveler in this situation where Ngannou has ridiculously been put inside the top 10 of the WBC, which is almost preposterous, right? And this is a money fight that the Saudis want to put on. They are the guys with all the money right now. They're the guys that are creating all the solutions to the problems that we've had. Do I think this fight has any more credibility than the Tyson Fury? Marginally. But do I expect Anthony Joshua to deal with Francis Ngannou more effectively than Tyson Fury did? Absolutely.
Ngannou doesn't think so. Ngannou's saying if Joshua takes a punch that Fury, the type of punch that I gave to Fury when I put him in his backside, then it could get interesting. I've heard that he doesn't have a chin, and I'm going to find out.
Well, Ngannou will take the fight to him, and as we saw against Tyson Fury, he can take a shot for one. He will get close to Joshua, and he will let his hands go. I mean, we know he can whack, and there is an intrigue in this fight because of the performance against Tyson Fury. Forget where Tyson Fury was and the condition he's in. You look at it and you go, are you interested? Will you watch it? I go, absolutely, yes. I think it's a good fight.
I mean, Simon, Joshua's damned if he doesn't, damned if he doesn't.
Yeah, I suppose. Well, he's not damned if he doesn't, because if he doesn't, then what's he damned for? I mean, Ngannou was not a necessary fight for Anthony Joshua. Ngannou is a fight that the Saudis want to have. The Saudis see the commercial opportunities of a crossover benefit from amalgamating two sports. They've seen the potential of it. They like it. This is a Saudi-dictated fight.
What's your take on, like, so we were talking about Anthony Joshua versus Filip Hrgović. That's where we thought it was going to land for the vacant IBF title.
The timing was wrong.
What's your thoughts on Hrgović boxing Joseph Parker? Because that's a fight that he's talked about on that card as well. I mean, that is a dangerous fight for, obviously, Filip Hrgović and his position with the IBF.
Of course it is. I mean, I can't quite understand why he would want to take that opportunity.
It's a bit of a slap in the face for Parker being the undercard to Joshua.
Well, he gets the opportunity against Filip Hrgović, who's the mandatory for the IBF, so it puts him in that position.
Well, he was the undercard in the most recent fights, so why wouldn't he be the undercard in this one?
Should he not be in the main event?
Well, hang on.
He beat Deontay Wilder.
Sure, and Joshua beat Wallin. And Joshua will top the bill. So why would Joshua be diminished in the next fight after doing a job on Wallin that everyone thought was going to be a very difficult fight, and he made light work of it?
Yeah.
Now, whether that's because Anthony Joshua was so impressive or whether it's because Otto Wallin was so poor, I think it's probably more likely to be that Anthony Joshua was more impressive than people give him credit for, and that Wallin couldn't get into the fight. But certainly Joseph Parker should not be in a situation where he's getting marginalised for opportunities. But he will be in a situation where Spencer often alludes to, which is he'll be the president of the Who Needs Him club right now.
But I mean, do we respect what is going on out there at the moment in Saudi Arabia with these heavyweight fights where we get Anthony Joshua versus Francis Ngannou, but we also, if we get like Parker versus Filip Hrgović, that is a great fight. You know, you talked about Deontay Wilder fighting possibly even Zhale Zhang. That's an interesting fight. I mean, the Saudis are putting these fights together now, and I think that we are going to be getting the fights this year that we've all craved to see.
And the only division that hasn't had that is the heavyweights. And if the Saudis and their money are creating that outcome, then you have to be mindful of it. Do you have to be respectful of it? I mean, what's their motivations for doing it? I don't have to respect their motivations. I can look at it and say, look, it opens the door. Do I like the fact that we built the boxing meccas on boxing, so Las Vegas and London, and people say, forget it, Simon, you're going to have to accept now that the Middle East is the space and place. I don't have to accept anything. As long as the good fights are there, who cares where they are?
Absolutely.
But if you're going to build them on the back of crossover fighters, I'm not sure that has the same credibility as fighting in Las Vegas and fighting in Madison Square Garden and fighting in London. But look, what we saw was a shuffling of the pack. And we got all the heavyweights and some of the best fighters in the world onto a card, not necessarily fighting the opponents we wanted them to fight.
Sure.
But the first battle was to get them all on the card.
To get them on the card.
And we all know how that was achieved.
Yeah.
It wasn't achieved through wonderful business sense. It was achieved through the Saudis being prepared to pay whatever it took to get them there.
The thing is, Fury having beaten Ngannou, if Ngannou loses to Joshua, it's goodbye Francis Ngannou.
Oh, absolutely. But look, Francis Ngannou is coming to a new... He's coming to a new...
Well, who's next in the block?
Yeah,
well, they've made him number...
He's going to fight them all.
Let's have a look. They've made him number 10 in the WBC heavyweight rankings of the world because he's had one fight.
Yeah, but that fight was
against Tyson Fury.
But a very close fight that many people felt that he had won. And so if you look at it and you go, well, that's he must get some sort of recognition for that. I know he's like 0-1. Do I reckon lightning strikes twice? No, because I think that Tyson Fury went in there and he had no fear factor, and I think Anthony Joshua now knows what he's going into, and that's why the fight will be totally different. That's what I think will happen. Okay. But Ngannou has to be respected as a boxer on that performance.